What's up, guys? Rob Kuhn here, and I have a question. Have you ever played a five-figure pot? What about a six-figure pot? Most people never have the chance to play a six-figure pot. But what about the elusive seven-figure pot? In today's video, we're going to see an absolutely ridiculous seven-figure hand between two, we can call them recreational players. One's a little bit worse than the other. You'll find out. But without spoiling the action, let's get into it.
I don't know.
I think you try anything.
How big was the game?
One Ethereum.
500, 1,000.
Oh,
You want to play there?
yeah. Of course.
Rumors of Elon Musk lurking around.
Oh, by the way, they're playing 1,000, 2,000 with a 4,000 ante. This is not a tournament. This is the $1 million Triton cash game. This is ridiculous. There's only been, I believe, two $1 million games. Back in the day, it used to be $1 million for the entire table. Now, in 2023, apparently everyone has God tier money and can just buy in for $1 million each.
What I call them? Fun coupons. See that? A fun coupon.
A high stakes poker game, I believe in Italy.
Is that so?
The Americans are coming.
You don't want to learn PLO, Mr. Paul? Everyone's playing.
I'm very
Oh boy, oh boy, Ali. Queens and kings in the blinds, Nagy popping things up under the gun with a couple of red ladies.
Look at these pre-flop hands. Everyone's
The
playing.
fuse is very much lit,
Santosh.
as 4 players are in for 6K.
Not your go, Mr. Lock.
Before Santosh 3-bets from the small blind to 36, it could very much look like a squeeze, and Rob Young is going to be thrilled to look down at 2 queens here, given that situationally,
36.
this raise to 36,000 doesn't have to be attached to kings or aces.
36,000.
So the 4-bet comes into 85,000, and now let's see how Phil Nagy's going to react.
There's some fun dynamics here. Mr. Long did say to Savannah before he raised.
Okay, before we get into the wild action that's about to occur, look at these hands. We have a raise under the gun from Phil Nagy. Blinds being 1,000, 2,000 currently, with a lot of straddles to 4,000. But he makes it 3x to 6,000 with pocket queens. Paul Foy can definitely go for the 3-bet with ace-6 suited. Tony G can definitely go for the 3-bet with 9-10 suited. Ace-8 can go for a 3-bet. It's kind of wild it actually didn't turn out a lot of people 3-betting. And then Santosh in the small blind, waking up with pocket kings. Santosh, if you don't know him, he is known for being very aggressive and plays a lot of hands, to be quite frank. Wakes up with pocket kings. 3-bets to a nice size, 36,000, 30,000 more to everybody. And then Rob Young wakes up with pocket queens in the big blind. I mean, what is going on? What are these hands? 6 people in the pot, and they all have playable hands. No one's made a mistake yet. Foreshadowing. Now it gets back to Nagy. Now, what do? You're under the gun. You get 3-bet by the small blind who plays every pot. Rob Young, I would say a bit on the tighter side, goes for the 4-bet. What do you do if you're Phil Nagy? Interesting, because you're extremely deep. You have 1 million in front of you. You're playing, essentially, you're playing $1 million effective with Rob Young. I think probably just flat. You could go for the 4-bet. I don't think fold in these kind of games is, really an option. So, anyway, let's go ahead and see what he does.
Easy now. It's only 6K.
785.
If anyone wants to read into that, I'm thinking Savannah's up to no good, prompted by Mr. Long trying to see a cheap flop. Note the equities.
Nagy also has to deal with Suvarna behind him. Never mind the 3 players between them.
Oh my. That's a 5-bet, Ali.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye. Tomorrow. Play.
250K total. And now,
And if you guys don't know who Phil Nagy is, he's the guy who generally plays a lot of seven-figure pots and loses essentially every single one of them. It's actually quite impressive at this point how many seven-figure pots he's lost. Anyway, the action gets back to Nagy, and he decides to go for the 5-bet to 250,000. And what do you do if you're Santosh? Phil Nagy makes a really, really big 4-bet. I personally would like to see a much smaller 4-bet. The thing is, when you're Rob Young, let's just say his bluff candidates are, let's say ace-queen suited or, ace-jack suited, perhaps, some frisky king-queen suited or king-jack suited or ace-10 suited type. These games do get pretty out of line, so we can include a lot of hands that may not be in there normally. I don't think you need to make it 250,000. It's quite big. It's it's a quarter of your stack. You're, are you trying to get it in pre-flop with queens for 500 big blinds each? Personally, I would assume not, but knowing Phil, I would assume he, once he goes for the 5-bet, he's probably going to call it off. To me, I think he should probably just make it like 190. Get some of those, those bad hands out. They shove, you can probably fold, but also get value from hands like jacks, tens, ace jack suited, maybe some ace king off, stuff like that. But now we're on Santosh. Now what is Santosh going to do? Let's go ahead and find out.
Varna, who has the second nuts with 2 kings pre-flop, is left to question whether or not aces lurk in the hands of Phil Nagy.
Heart in throat moment for Savannah, million deep. Table's gone quiet, understandably so.
And is it not a situation where the 5-bet is so big, Henry, that if we're going to proceed, we never want to do so in the form of a flat. We just want to get the money in, right?
I mean, we're 500 bigs deep.
Last time in Cyprus.
Well, he does make the flat.
600K in the middle already, without even seeing a flop.
Tonight win. Yes.
Big win.
Alarm bells ringing. In Yong's mind, is Savannah trapping?
The look on his face is a very authentic one in terms of concern.
And I'm sorry to keep pausing this video, but every single spot of this hand is actually very interesting. Does Santosh want to set the trap? Is he a little bit worried about aces? Is he just looking for that non-ace high board? So he, any non-ace high board, he can just simply go with it. Rob Young, knowing how aggressive Phil Nagy is simply, you have the 2 wildest guys at the table playing a massive pot, and you have pocket queens. You got the 3rd best hand in poker. Now, what do you do? What do you do? You put in 85,000. You don't have to call too much more. I mean, of course, 250,000 is a lot of money. I mean, you're literally putting a Lamborghini on the table. Think about that for a second. They're playing for Lamborghinis. And I'm sitting there doing a review. On people playing for Lamborghinis. Anyway, what do you do if you're Rob Young? I don't know. I mean, it's actually a terrible, terrible spot. I mean, the thing is, Phil is so capable of putting in the 5th bet light with maybe a hand like ace-5 suited or the ace-jack or the ace-queen. And Santosh is just so wide pre-flop for the most part that you could have him dominated or you could be dominated. He's probably not thinking that Santosh would trap pocket kings. But, yeah, let's see what he does.
What sort of hand would Suvarna flat call 250,000 with? Ace-king suited, dead bottom of range, one would imagine? If even that, Henry?
I mean, out of position, 500 effective. I think ace-king just finds the mark, to be perfectly honest with you, but...
So then, if we can't place ace-king in Suvarna's stewardship, how do our 2 queens perform?
Yeah, Rob's made some disciplined folds tonight already. Different situation now that he is stuck. Around 500,000. But the action in front of him, don't forget he cold 4-bet out of the big blind.
You see the Tom Luan hand, the 3.2 million, the queens. Would you call it if you're in? Tough one, I think.
700 big blind, I wouldn't fold bet.
Rob Young just goes for the call.
Oh my God.
Kings and aces.
Neither of these queens are going to flop a set for obvious reasons, and the setup for Suvarna is golden with these two kings. And an aceless flop is one that's going to be trouble for the queens in both Young and Nagy's hands. But the pot, 772,000, oh so big. One can understand why Suvarna might be feeling a little bit timid here, Henry.
We can remove any connectivity on this board, right? Only losing to aces.
Pocket fours, pocket fives, pocket sevens, not a part of the equation in any of these holdings. 6-8 as well. In all likelihood, suited heart.
Action checks to the pre-flop 5-better, who is Phil Nagy, and he bets 300,000 with 733,000, and this sizing is quite bad. The reason the sizing is quite bad because you're pot committed. You're basically saying if you have a hand like ace king or ace queen as a bluff, now I have to call off if someone shoves, because they can potentially, even if they have like ace queen, or sorry, pocket queens or something like that, if you have ace queen, you might be getting the right odds to call, you know, or of course if you have ace king and they have queens, then you obviously have to call because you've put in 300,000, right? So this sizing doesn't allow you to bluff. So with you know, 750,000 out there, I would like to personally see just kind of a small block bet. This is pretty normal in these situations, something like 100,000, you know, 90,000. And this allows you to have hands like, let's just say, good blockers like king, queen suited, or ace, queen off, or something like that. Maybe hands that want to get in the 5-bet range, but they also don't want to call it off, right? So when you bet 300,000, not many hands want to bet and then fold. Almost none, actually. So, you know, if you're Santosh here, you bet 300,000. I mean, Santosh, you're already putting over half his stack. So, I mean, of course, Santosh, you know, I don't have to predict the future here on what he's going to do.
Combos not in there either. We're looking at big pairs alone at this point, are we not?
Yeah, I mean, unless Nagy was feeling incredibly frisky with like an ace-3, ace-deuce of hearts.
So tough to imagine a world in which that's the case. And now a $300,000 bet from Suvarna, who only has 545K back.
Hearts are covered, and he has both his opponents drawing dead with over $1.5 million in the middle, Ali.
So he checked jams. Rob has announced fold.
Rob Young folded.
Snap fold from Rob. No
Yeah.
nonsense.
Fast as he possibly could.
Hanging onto his cards, though, just to be able to show them down at the end of this one.
Just mark your card.
I like that from Paul Fuad. Just marking cards, pot's big.
2, 4, 5
Super big.
on Nagy with 1.6 in the middle, and I think he knows exactly where he's at now. He's scared of the potential pre-flop trap with the aces.
1.5, exact. 1.4.
He knows he can't get away from it.
How much more? 245.
Just getting an insane price, but how often do you get shown like tens or jacks here?
I don't think he flattered with aces. I still think I'm probably losing.
Interesting comment from Nagy there. I don't think you flat out with aces, but I still think I'm losing. So I don't know if he's putting him on a set. That would seem insane. So I don't know, weird logic there by Nagy. Maybe you just put him on exactly kings. I don't know. I would think personally aces is the most logical hand here. With 245,000 to call, Rob Young snap folding his hand and wanting to hold it. Yeah, I mean, rough. I mean, look, you got to call 245. The end pot will be something like almost 1.9 million or whatever. Like, this is a massive, massive hand. Santosh being, you know, as wide as he usually is, he did snap get it in, though. So you got to worry about it. You do have the Queen of Hearts, which is always nice because, you know, you can get the backdoor hearts. There's also the, you know, the board can run out straight, which is always good. But look, at this point, you're just praying to Jesus somehow you have the best hand. Like, okay, maybe you have ace king of hearts, maybe you have ace jack of hearts, something like that. If you're in Nagy spot, tough one.
Well, the fact that Suvarna flatted the 250K before
Stupid you are. A call you must have.
the flop
Queens.
is obviously ringing alarm bells in Phil Nagy's head. He's blocking kings.
Can you imagine being so
What
rich?
else?
You have a
Sorry, he's blocking
talk
queens.
to Yoda
So
mid-hand.
what is it that Suvarna would play his hand in this manner with shy of kings or aces?
Makes the call.
I had queen.
Oh, that's not what Nagy wants to hear.
You're winning. I had queens. Oh, no, kings.
He knows he's drawing dead.
Doesn't matter how many times they run it.
You had queens?
Queens.
Queens? So it's dead.
One twice.
Queen. Twice.
Twice, 20 times. Completely irrelevant.
King.
Yeah, run out the entire deck.
Kali chop on.
As you can see, Phil Nagy is extremely excited, especially after Rob Young announced that he has queens, so he's drawing stone dead or potentially the 6-8, 6-3 chop. By the way, if you're Rob Young in this situation, at least let the man have a prayer. Like, yeah, you're fucked, right? But like, at least give him like 30 seconds of hope before his dreams are ruined, and then you can tell him he had queens if you want to give him a little needle after. Usually, this is common etiquette. Like if you're getting a flip with ace king and then say, hey, I had an ace, just so you know, you got less outs. You don't want to know 2 of your outs are removed. Rob Young, what are you doing here? You've been in the game for a long time. Anyway, as you can see by Phil's absolute excitement, he might be punting that watch off to get back in that game.
Oh, that's true. He could chop.
उसका queen था. Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
$1.86 million
He
pot.
did decide to
Ali.
run it twice. Will the 6 come?
Alive.
Six.
I'm drawing dead.
For chop. दोबारा.
Well, you're drawing live to a chop is what you're doing, and unfortunately it's not there on the first board. Can Phil Nagy get a 50% rebate
Kali straight ही आना है.
if he's able to chop the second board here? Which he's not going to be able to do, as the ton of diamonds leaves him drawing dead to that outcome.
An absolutely brutal hand comes, and look, Phil Nagy, he has to live up to his name. When you play a bunch of 7-figure pots and you lose every one, it's kind of expected, but you shouldn't really lose it getting it in drawing stone dead. That's probably not a good idea. I would highly recommend against that. Savannah Santosh, the man, the myth, the legend, who's been on a high stakes tear, it seems, ends up scooping the almost $1.9 million pot. This is real money. This is an unreal hand. Oh, by the way, Phil, I know you're still my boss and all, but like, let's not fire me or anything. You've already doom switched my account so hard that I'm basically paying you to be an ACR pro. But let's take it easy on my account. All right. So anyway, Phil, tough love. Let's just call it tough love. Maybe don't five bet the queens. Maybe don't. You don't have to stack off 500 big blinds with pocket queens. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Anyway, hopefully you guys like this video. Much love.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly.